everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is long past due that I do a product review, and today I am reviewing the Mepxy markers, and I hope that's how you pronounce them. These markers originate from Korea, and they have two different types of marker sets. There is the brush markers, which is what I will be reviewing today, and they also have the design markers. Now the brush markers include a brush tip, and it also includes a chisel tip. I got my hands on the pastel collection, and there are 12 markers in this box set, so you can see the colors here. The colors are beautiful, and I love pastel colors, which is why I always tend to test the pastel collections of any brand. Taking a look at their website, they offer information on the actual markers. So they state that they're using a new ink formulation, which means that the inks in the markers are translucent, which permits drawings being colored to show through in detail. This makes it easier for you to layer different colors and to blend layered colors for a 3D effect, which is really great for design and illustration. Already, my first impressions of this marker is a positive one. I do really like the look and feel of the actual design of the marker with the white package and the kind of the thickness of the marker, and also how the color appears on the tip of the marker. In terms of usability, the website also mentions that the brush tip is supposed to feel like an actual paintbrush when you're drawing in your drawing. So I'm going to put this to the test and check it out to see if it actually feels like a paintbrush, and I'm also going to take note on the translucent ink that they had mentioned. For the testing purpose, we're going to be coloring in this little sketch that I just drew. I'll be using the Mepxy markers. I'm going to try to use all the colors, but I don't think that that will happen. But before we get to the actual time-lapse portion of this video, I just want to test out all the colors so you guys can get a good look and feel on the pastel collection to see how they actually appear on paper. As I was testing out the colors, I was already getting more excited about this brand and this product because I was seeing how the brush tip was actually feeling and the amount of ink that was coming out. It actually did feel like a paintbrush, and it was really fun to draw with. Now that we've swatched every color of the pastel palette, you can see that there's a lot of really nice swatches, especially the N51, which you can probably use as a really light skin tone. You've got the Y11, which is the yellow, and this looks really nice in terms of having a pale kind of yellow color. As you apply the ink onto the paper, you'll notice that it's pretty vibrant, but as it starts to dry, you're going to see that it takes on pastel qualities, so it's a little bit of a nice touch. So for example, the 013, when I applied it on the paper, it was pretty bright, including the pink one here, the MO2. And as it started to dry, you can see that it took on a more pale characteristic, which is quite nice. It's not so highlighter color, which I really don't like in a marker. Another quick test I want to do before we start with the coloring time-lapse part of the video, I just want to test on how the markers will react with different materials. That includes the Pitt Artist pen, which is a fine liner that I use quite frequently to outline my work. I also am going to use it with a pencil to see if I were to just, put marker on top of the sketch, how would it react? Would it smudge the pencil a lot? And the sort of last step that I want to try is with my polychromos pencil crayons. I'm just going to scribble and outline or go on top of the scribble with the markers to see if it will also smudge the polychroma. So I often like to do this sort of test to see if these markers are good with mixed media work. So let's start with the Pitt Artist pen. We're just going to do like an outline. Going to wait for that to dry, and then I'm just going to scribble with my pencil. And then the last one, we're going to use the polychromos. All right, so I'm actually going to take the lightest one, which is what I typically use a lot of, is like the light skin colors, any sort of color really that I have to cover a large surface of the sketch. So any sort of skin color you have, I like to see if this will blend or work together with the different materials. So we're going to start off with the marker. You're going to see if the Pitt Artist pen bleeds into the marker, and it does not. And it also barely leaves a mark on the the marker tip, which is really good. So just in case I start to color on top of the black, you can see that there's not really much of a bleed going on, which is fantastic. Now in terms of the sketching pencil, yeah, this definitely will add a little bit of a bleed. You can see that it's a little bit, it's starting to kind of blend in with a marker. Although it's not as bad as some markers that I've experienced, this is actually not that bad. And the polychromos. Of course, polychromos is typically pretty good to work with, so I don't really have any issues with that either. So overall, this marker so far is standing the test quality in terms of mixing it with sort of different types of media. So you can see it's actually going to I'm going to be able to work pretty well with these markers if I wanted to apply different types of materials together. So now that we've tested that out, let's go to our time-lapse part of the video. I just want to preface by clarifying that I did use the Faber-Castell polychromos. I do use the polychromos to outline some of my line work. I do this when I don't want to use a harsh marker, like a harsh black marker. If I want something more soft, more feminine, I will use a pink polychromos, and this is what I did for this drawing. I just wanted to make sure that I covered all of the sketching areas, and I also erased a lot of the pencil because we saw how it kind of bled or it smudged a little bit when you went over top of the sketch pencil with the markers. So now let's talk about the marker itself. I'm going to talk about the very first point, which is actually the ink quality. Oftentimes with markers, and really it's any brand, when you draw on the paper, the ink will appear much more vibrant. It might have a little bit more of a different color maybe compared to the color that is showcased on the tip of the marker. And this is totally normal because when the ink is drying, it's still wet, it's going to appear a little bit more vibrant, and it also depends on the paper that you're drawing. Now I have to say that when this ink was drying and it actually dried, the color really settled into the proper color that it was supposed to be. So I was pretty happy about that because in the past I've dealt with markers that just stay kind of more highlighter color and does not stay true to the color they're supposed to be. In terms of the ink itself, well, the company states that the ink is supposed to be translucent and it's supposed to be easy to blend and layer different colors together. I 100% agree. I had a really fun time playing around. Now for this drawing, I didn't want to do a full face marker. I wanted to kind of leave some white spots of the paper in there. But in terms of working with the shadows and working with the hair, I had a really fun time layering things together, and I thought it was quite easy to do so. Now for me, the cherry on top of this marker is actually the brush tip. Now the brush tip, I love this type of brush tip. It is true what they said about it feeling like a paintbrush. I actually had the same feeling with the Winsor & Newton brush markers, and that's why I love them so much, was because of the way that the thick brush marker tip really worked and was easy to use, and it just felt like very smooth. There was just something about it that I really love. And these markers were very, very similar to that feeling, and actually I prefer this feeling compared to the Copic markers. And actually after this video was filmed, I went back and checked the actual, I compared the Mepxy brush tip compared to the Copic brush tip, and I found out that the Copic brush tip was a little bit longer. However, the Mepxy brush tip was actually a little bit thicker, so that probably is why it feels much nicer to work with for some reason. I think I could cover more ground, and yeah, I don't know, I just really like the feeling. So in summary, I'm probably going to rate this product a 7 out of 10. Now let me explain why. I was raving about the quality and the quality of the ink and the way the brush marker worked, and I think that this product is a highly professional product and I would definitely work with them in the future. Now the reason why I kind of deducted 3 points and it's not a 10 out of 10 product is because this marker is incredibly hard to find. Now I believe we bought these markers a few months ago, I think actually in February or in March, so it was a while ago, and I forget the price, and I think it was around 50 euros for a set of 12 markers. Now, doing this video now, I looked online to try to find the actual price in US dollars and in euros again. I checked out my local art store, I can't find it on their website, I think they don't carry it anymore. I googled around, they don't sell it on the German Amazon. They do, however, sell them on the US Amazon for about 43 US dollars. Another aspect that's a little bit negative is that from what I've researched, there are refillable inks for these markers and also changeable nibs for the brush nib or the chisel tip. And unfortunately, I don't know where they sell these because I can't find them anywhere, and I don't know if that's a myth or a rumor, but apparently these things exist for these markers. So yes, they are refillable. Yes, you can change the nibs, but it might be difficult to actually find where these hidden treasures are located because I don't know. They don't sell it in my art store. They don't sell it on Amazon, which is, it's not very a good positive thing. So maybe these markers will be more disposable than your average Copic marker, for example. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this honest review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. Comment below if you guys have ever tried out these markers, and also let me know what you think of them. And I'd like to wish you guys all a lovely, lovely day. I hope it's sunny for you wherever you are in the world. It is definitely rainy and stormy here in Berlin, which is not fun. But yeah, have a great day. Bye!